Hey everyone, it's been a minute, but Bluestone TCG here. This is my face. As you can see, we now have a webcam as well as a proper mic. So huge shout out to my fiance who did pick those up for us for some Black Friday shopping. So now we're going to be able to do some Facecam content. I was going to make a video on an M-board deck that I was trying to make, and I just couldn't get it to consistently win. And I want to be able to bring you guys good, high quality decks to the best of my ability, and that deck just wasn't doing it, so I just scrapped the idea. I've been working on it for a few days, well, a few weeks honestly, but we had to move on. So I am just gonna come at you here with some Hydrapple. Now we've covered Hydrapple before on the channel, but it's definitely come a long way with the release of the Meganium and such. So we're just gonna go over the new build real quick here. First things first, we have 3 copies of this Applin, the Tumbling Attack. That's just my personal preference because you have the chance to one-shot a Budew. There's a few other Applins in format, but the biggest thing is you do want it to be a grass type Applin, just so you can find it with your bug catching sets if need be. Because I know there's a Find a Friend Dragon, which Find a Friend is a great attack. But I just prefer having a grass type so you can find it with bug catching sets. Then we have 2 copies of the Festival Lead Dipplin and 1 copy of the Coded Attack Dipplin. The Coded Attack Dipplin is for things that would be like basic type decks that are going to be dealing high damage, just to try and buy yourselves a turn, kind of like Raging Bolt and like kind of Tord Box a little bit, or better known Absol Box. But that matchup we don't have too hard a time into anyway, just because we can kind of roll through their stuff. The build with Cornerstone's a little bit more difficult, but we have answers for that as well. So yeah, just 1 copy of this Coded Attack Dipplin, and then we have 2 copies of Hydrapple EX. And then we have a 2/2/2 line of Meganium, so super strong. Obviously going to be doubling the effectiveness of our grass type energy, which means higher damage output. Before, with Hydrapple, our focus was just getting the energy into play. And now we get to focus more on getting our Pokemon into play. So I definitely preferred this build over the older ones that I kind of experimented with, that were kind of juggling Festival Grounds and Hydrapple around depending on how much energy you could force in. Now we can just get our Pokemon out and get swinging for really high numbers with a 330 HP Pokemon really quickly. Other than that, we have 2 copies of Teal Mask Ogerpon. Going to 3 could be nice, but we're a little pressed for space on that front. 1 copy of Mew. We can restart to draw a few cards. We have a free retreater here. And then Genome Hacking is going to be one of the outs to things like Cornerstone, because we're going to be able to copy their attack. Also, just copying attacks can be really nice in a lot of different situations. Then we have a copy of Fez. Obviously, Flip the Script is super strong, but with this deck, we do have the ability to go ahead and Cruel Arrow really nicely. Obviously, attaching from hand plus Ripening Charge onto any Pokemon. With Meganium, we're going to be able to attack with anything we want in just 1 turn. So really nice. It's not quite the same as Venusaur, where we're just moving our damage around, whereas we're just putting our energy in different places. So a little different there. We do have 1 copy of Psyduck, since there's so many, like with Lopunny and Charizard and Dragapult all on Dusknoirs right now. Psyduck is super strong. Now obviously Klefki plus Jet does give us a pretty tough time. We just have to try and slow them down until that's not really an option anymore, if that makes sense. It's definitely tough with all the ghosts running around. It's kind of gatekeeping a lot of small decks. That's another reason I couldn't really make the M-board deck work, is just because there's so many ghosts around. Obviously you could play the Golduck, which is Psyduck's evolution. Not as many people know about it, but it has the exact same ability, Damp, as the Psyduck, but obviously since it's a stage 1, it's not going to be turned off by Klefki, so a little bit of a tech idea there. I haven't really worked it in yet, obviously, but it is an idea for the deck if you're having a really hard time. Then we got 1 copy of Regigigas, another Cornerstone answer, with that Jewel Breaker attack, dealing 100 damage, but 330 if it's a Terra Pokemon, which which Cornerstone Mask Ogerpon is. And then obviously you're hitting out all the Charizards in the format, which we hit for weakness anyway with our normal attackers, but you're taking out all the Dragapults, and we're going to be getting some new Terra type Pokemon, allegedly, in Ascending Heroes that we can use the Jewel Breaker for. Maybe it's the set after that. regardless, it has been leaked that there are more Terras coming soon, so hopefully Regigigas gets some more value there. And then we got a copy of Budew, just so we can use him, you know, if we go second on our first turn, get a little itchy pollen in there, slow our opponent down. On to the trainer cards. So we got 3 copies of the Forest of Vitality. Obviously, we want to be able to get our Pokemon in play right away, going really quick. And then instead of 4 copies of Forest, we have 1 copy of the Festival Grounds, just because having that as an option is really good. Because in the early game, a lot of one-shot decks like Raging Bolt are kind of beat out of the format, just because so many other decks are really good at taking multiple knockouts in a turn, not just multiple prizes, but multiple knockouts. And that's become really important, is being able to take out more than one of your opponent's Pokemon in a turn. So having the Festival lead option, just so we can swing twice, can be really, really powerful. And that's what we have for stadiums. For tools, we just have 1 copy of Air Balloon, not really heavy on tools at all. So Jellicent's not going to be turning those down for us, but we do have a lot of items, so hopefully we don't bump into too much item lock. Speaking of items, we have 4 copies of those Bug Catching Sets. Really, really strong grass support card. We get to look at our top 7 and take in a combination of 2 grass Pokemon and basic energy, so it can be really, really good. This card alone can like grab us almost anything from our entire deck. I mean, it can grab us a simple combination like Teal Mask plus Grass to just see an extra card off the top of the deck, or it could grab like Bayleef Meganium while we have the Forest in play and just get us Pokemon that way. So Bug Catching Set has a lot of potential in this deck, and I really like the way that it feels and just turns through the deck so quickly. Then we have 3 copies of Nest Ball to just be able to get out our Pokemon, get out our Teal Masks, our Fezzes, our Applins, whatever we're grabbing. We don't actually have any Poffins in this deck. We're just relying on aggressive draw, Bug Catching Sets, and Nest Balls. That's another reason I like the grass type Applins, is just because since we don't play the Buddy Poffins, being able to find them in that one extra way is so, so powerful. Then we have 3 copies of Pokégear. You could cut one of these Pokégear for that Golduck I was talking about, but I've been settling with just the Psyduck and letting it roll from there. So 3 copies of Pokégear to be able to find our supporters for turn. 1 copy of Superior Energy Retrieval, so we can get energy back into our hand after a huge knockout has been taken, or maybe a couple of retreats, something of that manner. Maybe we had to Turo something up. Being able to get that energy back is really nice. Then we got 1 copy of Vessel, just to instantly guarantee a grab of energy out of the deck, just because that Bug Catching Set is not a guarantee by any means. So being able to guarantee it with the Earthen Vessel is really nice. Then we have 1 copy of Ultra Ball, guaranteeing Pokemon again. And then our A spec is going to be that Max Rod. This is so good because a lot of the times our opponents will like to boss KO our Meganiums and such. And with the Forest of Vitality, we can just Max Rod back all 3 of those pieces and instantly put our Meganium back into play. As well as other things, like if we lose a Hydrapple with energy on it, we can do the exact same thing with the Forest and just instantly putting it back into play. So this Max Rod is really good after responding to our opponent, but it can be used in a general sense too, like just grabbing a couple energy back if you need it in the middle of the game. So really flexible in terms of an A spec, which I really like. And that should be it for items. So moving on to our supporters, we have 1 copy of Jacq. Now I prefer the Jacq over the Dawn. Dawn, obviously it grabs you 3 different Pokemon. You get Basic, Stage 1, and Stage 2, where Jacq is just 2 evolution Pokemon. The reason I prefer the Jacq here is because I have found it so many times that I'm able to, like, say I'll have a Bayleef, a Stage 1, and I'll have a Dipplin, a Stage 1, and I'll have the Forest in play, and I want to be able to get all my stuff going right at once. Jacq can find me Meganium Hydrapple, whereas with the Dawn, I mean, sure, I can grab the full line, but if I'm in that situation, which happens a surprising amount, like I'll have Hydrapple Meganium in my hand. In my testing, at least, I've found that Jacq has been better. Now, Dawn could be better, and I'm just more used to the Jacq, and it's felt better, and those situations have happened, whatever, but I do prefer the Jacq in here over Dawn. Then we have 2 copies of Boss's Orders, just so we can get some gusting. 1 copy of Iono for a little bit of disruption. We don't need too much. This deck does draw pretty aggressively with those Teal Masks, so we're not wanting to recycle our hand that often, but sometimes we're forced to just to see the cards. And then this is really for just a little disruption, not so much resetting our hand. One copy of Professor Turo. If we take a big hit, we can pull something out of play. Or maybe we like start a Pokemon we don't want in the matchup. Like let's say we start Regigigas against some deck that we have no reason to play Regigigas into. Or Psyduck against a deck that doesn't have any Duskdwarms. Something along those lines. One copy of Colress Tenacity, just so we can find it off of Pokégear and be able to grab our stadiums that way is really nice. So having another way to reliably get your stadiums can be really good. It is only a one-of, but like I said, with those Pokégears, those one-of supporters become much more reliable. And then the backbone of the support is Lily's Determination. We got 4 of them in here. I said we don't really want to be recycling our hand that much, but it's just such a good supporter. And Arven does not feel that good considering we have one single air balloon, and going Arven for a bug catching set and then whiffing the bug catching set is awful. And I found that it is just better to just go for the lilies, use your teal dances after the fact, and see cards that way. So sometimes there is some left to be desired, you know. An Arven in here, maybe 2, would not hurt at all, just some guaranteed search, but we see so many cards throughout a turn that I'm really not too concerned. Sometimes we get screwed over, but it is what it is. And then we have 9 grass energy and 1 mist energy. The 1 mist energy does mist energy things. Protects from Devo, protects from phantom dive damage, being spread onto the bench, protects from Claw of Darkness, not taking a card out of your hand. Terminal Period, the first attack. Protects from Terminal Period, protects from Monkey Dory's Confusion. Obviously, Mist Energy, it's just a very good card. You're going to see a lot of it. Unfortunately, you also do see a bit of Enhanced Hammer running around recently. But, I mean, you can only do so much with a 60-card deck. So, 1 Mist Energy, and that's the deck. So, let's go ahead and hop into a game here. So, we did find ourselves a game here, and we did win the coin flip, so we're going to get to go second. Now, typically I do prefer going second with this deck, just so we have the option of supporter right away, which is always really good. But also because taking away second from our opponent in this meta is just really, really strong. I'm going to bench the Chikorita or start the Chikorita and bench the Applin right away. We don't want to be getting poison donked out here, so make sure we have that little bit of protection on our bench. They are going to start the Fezandipiti. Now, one nice thing about Hydrapple right now is you can kind of hunt down Charizards, which looks like that's what this is going to be. Seeing the Tatsugiri, okay, no, because they have the new Charmander here. I was going to guess Gabriel Fernandez's list, but it actually looks like it's going to be the Mega Charizard. So that's going to be hitting us for weakness, which is pretty bad, I'm not going to lie. But as long as we can stay in the trade of 3 and 2, we should be fine. We'll go ahead and get rid of all of that, and I think I'm going to grab a Budew to start us off here. Hopefully we can get into that Budew after this Lilies here. All we have to do is find 1 energy. I have no idea how many stadiums they play. I'm just kind of hoping they don't have the bump here. So we do find the energy, so we're going to be able to start itchy pollinating them right away, which always feels good. Seeing as they play Tatsugiri, I doubt they also play Budew, so I'm going to hold that Pokégear, because it would suck if we got item locked in return and weren't able to use it, but we already have the Forest in play. Okay, they do have the bump right away, and the Lilies, so getting the instant, I was not expecting that. Battle Cage, even, oddly enough, doesn't feel like a very good stadium right now. It's only effective attacks, right? Prevent all, damage counters from being placed on your benched Pokemon. So that is I think that would be covering all damage too. So it does cover Screamtail there. They're going to retreat and get the Tatsugiri, attract customers into a research, oddly enough. And pass. Okay. Not every day you see research now that we have Lily's Determination running around, but we're going to go ahead, get that Bayleef in, get a Dipplin in. I don't think we're going to be needing Psyduck at all. Let's go ahead and Pokégear here, hopefully finding Lilies. There we go. And we'll go ahead and rip that since we don't really need any of those other cards. No Forest this turn. I don't mind just holding this hand. We have Nest Ball, Mist Energy, but unfortunately we were kind of hoping for a grass so we could pair it with our Teal Mask. Yeah, I think I'm just going to hold this hand and continue the Itchy Pollen. It'd be nice to find a Colress within these next couple turns, or just find the Stadium Raw. Obviously we are down one, since they got that instant bump. And we have yet to do a proper deck search, oddly enough, so... Or wait, did we use that Ultra Ball? We did, didn't we? I think I did do a deck search. Yeah, I did complete a deck search and just totally forgot to prize check in any manner. So there's the Forest, there's the Teal Mask, and the Grass, but we don't really have any way to get into our other Pokemon. So we're just going to have to wait and see if we can actually play the game moving on. Now, I'm a little hesitant to start putting 2 prizers in play, unless we can trade. Now, we do have a boss in hand, but I don't think we're going to be able to really utilize that right now. There's a Colress. Yeah, I'm nervous to put 2 prizers in play. But they do play 3 prize Pokemon, so I guess we'll just go for it here. Let's go for a Teal Dance. On there. There's a Meganium. Go ahead and Nest Ball here. I think just for another Teal Mask to get that other Teal Dance off here, because we need to see some cards in order to play the game. And it's another Grass Energy. Oh geez. So I think here we're going to go ahead and Colress for Forest Grass. Even though we already have the Forest in hand, we're not bossing anything right now. We're going to go ahead and bump. We have the second Forest in hand if need be. And we're just going to go ahead and Itchy Pollen. Now this next turn, Meganium Ogerpon is a very strong combo as well. So we do have Boss Meganium Ogerpon. They're going to have the bump, unfortunately, but we do have another Forest. Really just not letting us get value out of our stadiums is a little annoying, especially because this is going to be our last Forest, but we don't really need it right now, so we might just keep that in deck. They do have Prime Catcher, so I'm guessing that we're going to be losing one of our Ogerpons here, unless they opt to use the TM Evo. They might just be attaching that to burn it, though. It's very possible. They go for it and attract customers while it's still in the active. To find themselves an Arven for the next turn. And we'll see if they... Oh, they can't use the Prime Catcher. They're under item lock, of course. So yeah, Budew really showing his strengths here, just slowing my opponent down from getting aggressive on us. Are they going to bring out both? Now, Mega Charizard is going to be a little tough for us to deal with. 360 is a lot. Now, this deck can absolutely hit it, but more so them hitting us for weakness is going to be the biggest issue. So we're going to go ahead and get a Teal Dance here. Find a Jacq. So we could go in with Hydrapple this turn. Unfortunately, they're going to be dealing a lot. So we'll get a second Teal Dance here. Because with Meganium, also Hydrapple only attacks for 1. Now, unfortunately, we can't Boss and Jacq in the same turn. Let's do some math here. If we manually attach this, we're going to be dealing 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, plus the base 30. So we're going to be dealing 210 with our Ogerpons. I almost want to just go ahead and start attacking, but that doesn't leave me much going into the next turn. I'm afraid it might just be another item lock. We'll Jacq this turn just to get it out so we don't top deck into that. And we'll hold the Hydrapple itself, and we're just going to Itchy Pollen again. Now going into the next turn, now we're going to be able to do some damage. Hopefully start drawing some prize cards, and hopefully that item lock has been enough to bear them down. As long as they don't have a boss's orders in hand, I'm feeling pretty comfortable. Obviously, I'm very afraid of that Charizard coming up and swinging. Now, Hydrapple deals 30 damage base and then 30 more for each grass attached to all our Pokemon, which damage is doubled by Meganium. So it's going to be 6 for each. So 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24, plus, so 330, if I counted correctly, with this Hydrapple grass in hand, which is 1 energy away from knockout on that Charizard. So if we can find ourselves that 1 more energy, we're going to be sitting pretty comfortable. Of course, we would like to find it without the use of our supporter, as we would love to use Boss this same turn. Okay, now there's a lot of counting with this deck, which I am personally am not the best at, which is kind of funny. So live does do a convenient job of just showing it to us, so we'll see. Asking you shall receive, but it's not quite what we were looking for. We find that mist energy. Oof, that's rough. We did get an energy, but with Hydrapple it does have to be grass energy. So I think here we're just going to go ahead and Teal Dance again. Right. They very well could have Boss. If we Teal Dance into a grass, we're feeling really good. If we don't, then it's another story. Bug Catching Set, this could definitely find it for us. And there's a grass. So let's go ahead, just double check. So there's 3 there, so 180. 3 more. I'm really bad at math. I think it's right. We're just going to go in for it and hope I counted correctly. There we go, 330. We're going to be one-shotting this Charizard right off the face and getting 3 prize cards off this one draw here, which is just amazing. Yeah, 390 damage, taking 3 prize cards off that stage 2 Mega Pokemon. So absolutely incredible here. We get a Bug Catching Set, we get a Max Rod if they take a knockout. So feeling pretty good. I haven't seen any Ionos off of their Tatsugiris yet. A lot of researches, Lilies, and Arvins. We'll see if we get hit with an Iono this turn. I imagine they're going to come up with Chi-Yu, although actually Chi-Yu doesn't even deal enough because it's 140 damage from Chi-Yu. Times 2, that's going to be 280, which is missing knockout on our huge 330 Hydrapples. Here's the Mega Charizard Y, or X. Y hasn't been released yet, which if we knock out another one of those, we just win the game. So we have Hydrapple, Boss, and Max Rod all in hand, so it could be there, but they do have the Iono. So we're going to have to see what we draw off of this. It's going to be a Fez to flip the script, a Nest Ball, which isn't really going to grab us anything, unfortunately. But we are only 3 away, and they're still 6 away. They're going to go down to 4 away after this knockout here, which I presume they're planning to take. Here's a Superior. Are they already at 4? They're only at 3 in discard. I was going to say, there's no way they have 4 in discard just from their general play already. But yeah, and just really being able to keep a small board, obviously with the Teal masks on the bench there, like force and the Itchy Pollen forcing them to play slow as well, going back and forth like that until we have the opportunity to just jump and get the upper hand there feels really good. They're going to have to come up with their Mega Charizard here, and we'll see what they choose to discard. I imagine you're going to want to take it off the Charizard active, Seeing as that Teal mask could be dealing a lot. They take one off the active and one off the bench or choreo. Now I gotta do more counting. Yeah, we'll promote Budew. I'm just gonna grab a calculator, guys. There's no sense in me struggling to think like this. So we'll go calculator. We'll take a look here. We are gonna definitely, actually, we want to shuffle the deck because we know we have that second Hydrapple on the bottom of the deck. So we're gonna go ahead and shuffle it up with that Nest Ball. So, and they're gonna scoop. I think they did the math for us, but that they're gonna scoop right away. And you guys really got to see the power of this deck, where we're not directly searching for a whole lot, but we just get to aggressively cut through the deck, drawing cards, and piecing things together, slowing down the game with our Budew. Could go to 2 Budews as a consideration that's crossed my mind. Taking second away from our opponent, just so many things adding up, and being able to just one-shot whatever comes in front of us with that Hydrapple is so good. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video and enjoyed the deck. Obviously, you saw me just one-shot that Charizard X, that Mega huge 360 HP. Obviously, a lot of regular Charizard has been winning recently. So we're going to be hitting that for weakness, being able to just knock it out with just about everything in the books that we carry in our deck. So really, really good deck. And I have so much fun. It's really my pet deck. So I hope you guys have fun with it. And thanks for tuning in. And welcome back to the channel, I guess. So have a great day.